Okay. Our meeting to order. Thank you all for coming. Please stand and join us for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate you all coming. Okay, board members, does anyone have any corrections or additions to the agenda tonight?
We did not get the student representative report onto the agenda, so we don't need to add that.
We did not work.
We did not add Marissa's student
So
representative.
should we add that as item G or A before you do your budget report? Is that a good place?
I think, yes, if we.
Marissa, does that work for you?
Yeah.
All right.
Down.
What do you call that? Sub A? Any other corrections or additions? All right, so the chair would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as modified.
So moved. I moved that we approve the agenda with the one change.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any more discussion, comments, or questions? All right, thank you. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? All right, let's move forward to the consent agenda. So most of the consent agenda items are in our tabs. We have the invoice vouchers. And the minutes. For 3 meetings, I believe, 1 regular meeting and a budget hearing. And then a special meeting, 2 special meetings. So please take your time and review those. If you have any corrections or additions or questions, please just feel free to bring them up.
For my part, they look fine, but I was not here for any of them. I did listen, I think, to most of them, but, you know.
That's pretty cool. All the way around the world.
Well, or after, it was actually after the fact. when I got
Oh,
back, I
okay.
was- But yes,
Did we have the call director Lugby up on the phone because he was on his way to go
We did.
paddleboarding?
I don't think that made it in there.
well, there, yeah, you joined by phone on one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he hadn't seen the email and was on his way to go paddleboarding with his brother-in-law.
That was our quickest meeting.
Yes. Started at 6:15 and ended at 6:18.
I couldn't believe it. I wanted to sit here a couple of minutes just to make it a little longer.
All right. No, that looks. Those minutes look good. Um. I guess I would ask the regular question, when we start talking about the invoices, if there's anything to point out or anything unusual as we're starting.
Okay, so. I think this time of year, it's a lot of curriculums. Purchases, there is fall tuition.
I didn't notice anything unusual or different. Did anybody have any questions on the invoices?
You will see student recognition in there, several times as we've been, updating the new Owl's Nest and getting that prepared, so.
That's very nice. How are you doing, Joan? Have you had any questions on the invoices or anything? No. Okay. Anyone have any,
Yeah, I do have one.
all right,
What is Pacific Law Group Department 701?
That is our, legal counsel, so. Yeah, that's the firm, that they have for.
okay, if there's no questions there, along with our invoices, we have the payroll for August in the amount of $107,436.17. Then we have the payroll benefits. See if there's a total amount here. In the total amount of $1,246,280.43. So that's part of the consent agenda, if anyone has any questions. All right, if there's no questions or corrections or concerns, let's, the chair would entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda as presented, items A through D. Any further discussions or comments? All right, all approved, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, thank you. Let's move on to public comment. So I welcome you all here tonight. And we have a lot of people here. We want to make sure that everyone has the opportunity to speak. So sometimes I can be a talker, so I know sometimes it's hard, but if you could keep it a tiny bit short, that would be appreciated. Who would like to start? Well.
I nominate Lynn Bergeron.
Hi, Lynn, welcome.
Yeah, the problem is I have a lot to say and it's not gonna be a tiny bit short. Is that acceptable to the board?
Well, usually, I think that we limit it to 3 minutes, but we also take written comments as well.
Well, my comments are not just addressed to the board. I really want to speak to the board and the community. And the board as members of the community.
Let's hear it. Yeah.
I second that.
Sounds like everyone would like to hear you, Lynn.
Okay. I'm gonna sit over here because I do want to talk to everybody. The Millay community and school have weathered emotionally charged situations in the past, and here we are again. And there'll be more in the future. But if you braced yourself for a righteous tirade from me, I'm not gonna deliver one, so. We've had enough drama. I'm speaking to the members of our community and the board members who are also part of our community. I'm not here to condemn anyone or defend anyone. So please relax and open your minds and hearts. I know there is a storm of feelings in this room, including shock, anger, confusion, frustration, outrage, grief, sadness, and helplessness. I feel them all. Those feelings are justified, but for a short while, just try and quiet them so we can all listen. Why did I ask to speak today? Nothing I say is going to put Little Woods back the way it was, so what's the point? The point is healing. For some, the logging is no big deal. For others, it's a gut-wrenching trauma. How we are, as a community, going to move on from this event. Healing is not going to happen without full disclosure of what happened and why. There can be no questions left unanswered, nothing left to wonder about, nothing left to fester. I'm going to address this on two very different levels. On the first level, everyone will be able to relate, I think. On the second level, some of you will resonate with what I'm talking about. Others will likely think I'm some kind of nutcase. So be it. I'm just going to claim old lady privilege here. I am not a forester, but I will tell you some of my background that led me to think I might be able to help explain things. In the mid-90s, I did contract field work under the Clinton administration Northwest Forest Plan. This was a landmark federal land management policy and scientific assessment of ecosystem health and industrial timber harvests. I did several scientific surveys in the Gifford-Pinchot and Olympic National Forests. These included plant and animal habitat surveys and forest inventory plots. During the 8 years I was on the Snowden Community Council, I reviewed all the forest practice permit applications for the greater Snowden area in Clickatack County. I also did contract field work for a few timber companies, namely Champion Lumber, Weyerhaeuser, and Longview Fiber. Even more relevant to the Little Woods project, I took 2 forestry courses through Washington State University so I could write and implement my own stewardship forest plan for the 30 acres where I live. That plan became a model plan in the DNR stewardship program. In 2011, I procured a matching funds grant to upgrade 900 feet of the irrigation ditch that runs through Little Woods upstream of the school property. And I did most of the work on that project. I've also served on the school board here during the start of the academy. Okay, so here's the first level explanation. What happened and where, in my opinion, things broke down. What was the logic pathway from an abutter's concern about 2 trees to logging the entire parcel? The precipitating event was an abutter making the school aware of a potential problem back in late 2025. A single Doug fir on the edge of Little Woods was leaning towards their land. If it fell, it would likely take out a fence corner and damage structures on their property. A downed fence would give deer access to their gardens and many fruit trees, in addition to the structural damage. They sought to eliminate the threat before anything bad happened. There was also a live alder tree already leaning on their fence. At this point, there were a few different options, in my opinion. Option 1, do nothing. Forest environments carry some inherent risks. All of nature does. The folks who live in or next to large trees enjoy many benefits and assume the inherent risks. If and when something happens, it could be dealt with then. This option was not acceptable because the abutter notified the school that the tree was a visibly dangerous hazard. That shifted the liability to the district. Under Washington state insurance laws, if that tree fell and caused damage other than just cleanup, it would be considered an ignored hazard and negligence rather than an act of God. Option 2, hire a qualified arborist to remove the 2 hazard trees and possibly negotiate sharing the cost with the abutter. In my opinion, this would have been the most timely and appropriate option because at that point, the school wasn't dealing with a whole forest problem. They were dealing with 2 single trees. An arborist could safely and surgically remove these. The abutter provided the school with the name and contact information of a certified arborist who they had paid to look at the situation. To my knowledge, the school never contacted this arborist. Option 3. Since there were concerns about the forest health of Little Woods that the school wanted to fold into dealing with the 2 problem trees, they could have had a DNR stewardship assistant forester come and evaluate the property for free. These foresters walk the property, assess conditions, give management advice, and help you write your own forest management plan. Other places to seek free advice would have been UCD, Underwood Conservation District, or the local conservation district. This option would have potentially made the school eligible for cost share assistance and for tax reduction, if that applies. I don't know if you have to pay taxes. It would have been a great educational project for the students to participate in the DNR stewardship planning course and write a stewardship plan for Little Woods. In my opinion, this was a significant missed opportunity. So why didn't the school choose this option? I think it was simply that they were unaware of it. The downside of this option would have been it would take much longer to deal with the 2 problem trees. Option 4, contact a consulting forester. This was the option the school chose. The forester, we'll just call him Ryan from now on, delivered a services proposal for a pro bono timber cruise to gather the stats on Little Woods, after which he would make recommendations on how much timber could or should be removed and what the financial implications were. This last option was what the school did without investigating option 2 or knowing about option 3. To be fair, they did what a lot of people would have done. The sequence of events. The abutters notified the school about the leaning tree in early December 2025. School personnel met with the abutters to view the situation shortly thereafter. At that initial meeting, Miss Amy Lomax said she knew someone to contact. The school issued an RFP, which was a request for proposal, to Pacific Coast Forestry Services. That's Ryan. Ryan did a quick tour of Little Woods on December 4th and discussed the school's goals with Amy and Kelly. Then he issued a proposal for forest management services dated December 8th. Kelly presented this proposal to the board at their December meeting. At the January meeting, the board decided to pursue a project for the whole of Little Woods and authorized Kelly and Amy to continue developing the plan. At the March board meeting, Kelly reported continuing work with ESD's legal counsel and risk management group. The plan was still in process. The school asked Ryan to provide a service contract, which, along with the DNR, that's Department of Natural Resources, FPP, that's Forest Practices Permit application, was presented to the board at the June meeting. The forestry consulting contract with Ryan was signed on June 4th. The DNR's forest practice application was signed on June 15th. Ryan submitted the forest practice permit application to the DNR and said it usually takes 30 to 40 days. The permit was approved on July 13th. The board met on July 20th. They reviewed the forest practice permit. The next board meeting in which they talked about Little Woods was July 20th. Still no logging contract. Kelly asked if she could tell Ryan that he could draw up a contract with the one logger that bid on the job with the understanding that the board would still need to review that contract and the forest practices permit before signing. Little confusion there because they had already reviewed the permit at the last meeting, so I don't know what happened there. The next morning, so we're talking July 21st, Kelly sent out a flyer about the project to the community via email and invited questions and comments. The very next day, I emailed Kelly my 2 questions. I asked, 1, who is the lead forester on this project and what district is he or she out of? 2, what will happen to the trees that are thinned out? I asked the first question because I wanted to determine what kind of forester they were. Were they a certified service forester specializing in forest health, or were they an industrial operations forester or some other kind? There's as many kinds of foresters almost as there are doctors, and they have specialties. The second question, what will happen to the trees that are thinned out? I asked this question to ascertain whether the project was actually a stewardship project. I know from my familiarity with DNR forest practice applications that with the exception of taking under 5,000 board feet of timber as firewood or fence posts for personal use, once you remove and or sell trees from the property, the project is no longer a Class 1 stewardship project. It's a commercial logging operation. This is by DNR definitions. I kept that email. I did not get an answer from Kelly, and I regret not following up and insisting on an answer because the start of the project was very fast approaching. I trusted that it was truly a stewardship project, as I understand it from the DNR Stewardship Forest Program. On July 28th, the board approved the logging contract with the only logger that bid, and he wanted to start the next day. Here's what I believe went wrong. And this is my opinion. I'm not saying it's absolute. 1, the matter was initially handled by Amy Lomax, who simply didn't know what she didn't know about the DNR and forestry. Or at least I hope this was the case. The choices she made started the school on a track that they never diverged from. Number 2, in my opinion, at the June 15th board meeting, there was a good deal of uncertainty about the forest practices permit. You can see the board's uneasiness in the video. There were unanswered questions, incorrect assumptions, and unknowns. And the board had yet to see a logging contract. One thing was clear on the permit, however. It was for a Class 3 commercial timber harvest. To be fair, the forest practice permit is a bear to understand. It's full of acronyms. A lot of them don't make sense, and it reads like alphabet soup. That's one of the reasons consulting foresters exist. Number 3, at the July 20 board meeting, there were still significant unanswered questions, still a lot of discomfort. That's my perception. Still no logging contract. Yet the board was willing to capitulate to a perplexing, to me, unjustified urgency to get the project done before school starts. In my opinion, they were still uncomfortable with the road ahead, but they were also, for some reason, uncomfortable with putting things off. Number 4, the flyer was issued both prematurely and too late at the same time. Prematurely because there was still no draft logging contract and several remaining unanswered questions. But Kelly and the board had kind of painted themselves into a corner by rushing to get it all done before the start of school. That was good. They had good reasons for that. So the flyer had to go out immediately. It was issued too late because there was only a week for the community to respond. The board might have anticipated a strong reaction, but it wouldn't be fair to say they should have anticipated it. Number 5, the flyer set unrealistic expectations by A, calling it a stewardship project. 4 places in that flyer. In the title was called the Forest Stewardship Project. In the description was called a carefully planned stewardship work. In the list of what the project is designed to do, responsible stewardship. In the list of priorities, responsible forest stewardship. Yet there was no stewardship plan. There was a harvest plan. B, not calling a spade a spade. The flyer never used the words logging, commercial, timber, or harvest. The flyer euphemistically described what could be a commercial logging, or it could be something much more benign. Like, apparently, many people interpreted it as the latter. On the DNR permit, the project was a Class 3, which is a commercial timber harvest. Both contracts referred to the project as a timber harvest and gave ample details of what to expect. That's the information that should have been shared with the community and should have been shared sooner than the project started. Had it been, I suspect there would have been a lot more questions, comments, and pushback. If the project was not halted altogether, or at least postponed until a more acceptable scope of work could be negotiated, the shock and outrage at the outcome would have been avoided. Little Woods is not just a school district asset, it is a community asset. Perhaps the school was just trying to reassure the community. I don't believe there was any intent to misrepresent the scope of work, yet it was misleading by omission. Stewardship is a thick moral concept. It means something different to everyone, depending on their knowledge and their values. Stewardship is like a warm, fuzzy animal that everybody agrees is good until you poke it. Then you might find everyone had a different animal in mind. Some might have sharp teeth and claws. It's like the words sustainable and safe. They can create an illusion of agreement. In any particular context, words like these need to be clearly defined up front to get all the stakeholders on the same page. This brings me to my last item on the list of where things went wrong. There's an obsession with making Little Woods safe for kids. And there's an obsession in our society of making things safe. In my opinion, natural environments cannot be made safe without making them far less life-enhancing. We can't even make our households safe. Listen to this information from the National Safety Council. And the following all comes from the National Safety Council. Statistically, accidents occur in and around the home, or accidents occurring in and around the home account for the majority of all preventable injury-related accidents. According to recent data, 77 to 79% of all preventable injury-related deaths occur in the home or community settings, making it the most dangerous location for accidental fatalities compared to workplaces, public spaces, or roads. Home and community accident fatalities are significantly higher than the approximately 40,000 deaths from car crashes each year. 53.6% of all injury-involved accidents happen at home, surpassing accidents in public spaces and workplaces. Compared to the high frequency of home accidents, accidents in natural outdoor settings, such as national parks, wilderness areas, and during recreational hiking, are statistically rare. While 77% of all preventable injury-related deaths occur in home and community settings, deaths in natural outdoor environments account for a tiny fraction of total accidents. The public's perception, this is me again, the public's perception of danger is inverted. While the wilderness presents more dramatic risks, these account for a negligible number of accidents and deaths compared to the mundane hazards of the home. Many of us grew up playing in unmanaged woodlands. I have bushwhacked hundreds of miles in the national forest and on private timberland, not on trails. The forest is not a park. It's messy, but it's a miraculous cauldron of life. Risk due to wind can be dealt with by simply not allowing school activities in the woods on windy days. Just like you don't stand on an open ridge in a thunderstorm, or you call a snow day when the roads are icy. When I worked in the forest, we had hard hat days in moderate to high wind and no-go days on even when there was even higher winds. It's a matter of common sense. People are legitimately upset. They feel blindsided and deceived about what was an irreversible action with a huge impact. When we witnessed the first week's truckloads of trees, we went into stun mode, disbelief. As the logging continued, we became angry and outraged. Finally, feeling desperate to stop what was happening, we were jarred into taking some kind of action. I was prepared to file an ex parte temporary restraining order in Superior Court, initially based on the project being misrepresented to the community. My next thought was to see if the logger might be in violation of the DNR permit. So we gathered a small crew, delineated a sample 1 acre plot in Little Woods, started measuring and counting trees over 10 inches DBH, which is diameter at breast height, left standing. The count we got was close enough to the forester's prescription to conclude that the loggers were complying with the permit, so I did not file the restraining order. For those of you wondering what's the big deal, let me try to give you an example you can relate to. If you were to watch someone torture an animal for fun, you immediately, without thinking about it, would know that it's wrong. Unless you're a psychopath, you would have a visceral response. Now imagine that you are in no position to stop that torture, but you have to live with the ongoing sight and sound of it. Now understand me here, I'm not comparing torturing animals with cutting little woods. I'm just searching for an example that allows everyone to grasp the intensity of a feeling. Some of us felt that intense wrongness when we saw how much timber was being extracted and the amount of biomass that would be burnt off. And we felt the enraging helplessness. To call those feelings in someone else irrational is a judgment. To be angry about what someone else feels or deny that it's a legitimate feeling or to fail to acknowledge it, those responses land us right where we are in this extremely divisive world today. And by the way, I'm guilty of all of those things. Why do some of us have these strong gut feelings? We have different values, different experiences, different beliefs about consciousness, universal law, natural law, and intelligent design. We're aware of alternatives to mainstream ways of dealing with health and disease in our bodies, our gardens, and larger ecosystems like Little Woods. Before I continue with the next level explanation, I have a request of the board. I'd like you to see if the contract can be amended to chip the slash rather than burn it to keep the biomass in Little Woods. As the forester pointed out, one likely reason the stand was self-thinning is that the nutrients in the soil are already fully utilized. Would it not therefore be better to retain the nutrients and the soil building properties available in that biomass. What does a forest feed on? Light, water, and itself. In my opinion, it's a mistake to remove dead and dying trees. Every fallen tree is a food bank for future trees. Drop them if you must, but leave them in place to feed new generations of trees. Don't burn up all that biomass. What can we learn from this? 1, verify the starting premise. In this case, the assumption that Little Woods is unsafe is almost a fiction. The fact is, the kids are more at risk on the bus or in the playground. 2, don't necessarily go with the first solution that presents itself. In this case, there were other options out there, probably better ones. 3, listen to your gut. I could be wrong, but in viewing the board meetings, my perception was that none of the board members had a settled 100% feeling about several of their decisions. That's a very human thing. 4, slow down and speak up. Insist on answers and facts. Be suspicious of unanimous decisions. Allow time to draw out everyone's niggling feelings. They may not be able to identify them or articulate them right away, but they can still tell they have a feeling that something was wrong. 5, words matter. In this case, there were several emotionally charged words, perceptions, and biases that needed to be sorted and defined in concrete terms. 6, for school issues that impact the larger community, involve the community early in the process. It gives you the chance to draw on a greater body of experience and knowledge. Anita demonstrated this brilliantly in the way she handled hiring the current school administration by involving several members of the staff and community in the process. Now, I said I would address this on 2 levels. For those with ears to hear, this is just a reminder of what we already know to help us navigate this experience. We're living in unprecedented times, no question. The amount of worldwide upheaval, violence, and confusion is off the charts. According to Hermetic principles of how the universe works, every situation is a microcosm of the macrocosm. MIL-A is a microcosm of the world, and each of us individually are microcosms of MIL-A. There is indeed a correspondence. If you look for it, you will find it. Humanity is experiencing an accelerated spiritual evolution and involution. That's part of what's making crazy times. Everything that happens not to us, but for us. Our souls choose the experiences we need to learn and grow. For some reason, we're having this collective Little Woods experience for our individual growth. The consciousness that is those felled trees probably volunteered to do this for us. In order not to waste their sacrifice, we're obliged to be grateful, to seek what it is we need to learn, and to not blame or judge the human players in this drama. It's a tall order, I know, but that's the practice, isn't it? We are fortunate to have the board that we do. Board members volunteer to serve, and they juggle multiple pressing issues simultaneously. They make tough decisions, put in long hours, and none of it's for fun or personal gain. If you live long enough, you will one day find yourself on the same side of the table as your adversaries, or on the opposite side of the table as your allies. So please, remember to be respectful, compassionate, and hold the bigger picture in mind. No doubt, over decades, Little Woods will heal. It will heal. Because nature is an expression of divine intelligence. So are we. And that divine part of us seeks to forgive and heal. Let's work with that. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. If you have a copy to share with the board, that would be great.
You can have
But
it.
Jessica can take it right there. Thank you. All right, would someone else like to speak?
Well, since I'm standing, maybe I. Is that okay? Go for it.
All right, Rebecca.
Well, this is a hard act to follow. The eloquence and the wording, I'm not gonna come near that. And I had a crazy day today, so I'm not prepared that much. But I'm gonna talk to you from my heart, best I can. And so first of all, is I wanna thank each of you for all you do, because, it's huge. You guys are doing a lot with this board and administrator wise, so I really thank you all for all that you're doing. And I want to thank the community for, the support through this, because, it's really important. When you kind of feel like you're all alone, and then you kind of reach out, and then there's other people going, hey, I feel the same way, it's a nice thing, so thank you. So I might start crying a little bit, because I feel like it's kind of, and I know I've said it to you, my fault. And because we called the school to tell them about this leaning tree, and we had no idea that 6 months later it would look like that. So that's been very difficult. And Lynn pointed out the options that were available. But you do what you can. And I have these guys, they're with me. I don't know where I put it. Oh, there it is. Okay. So we saw the leaning tree and we called the Life of Trees. And Ryan Cafferty came out. And he saw it. No, on your property, on our property. He saw it and looked at it and said, oh yeah, we can take care of this because we do this all the time. He's an arborist. Our certified arborists can take any challenge. No tree challenge is too big or small for our certified arborists at A Life of Trees. With expert knowledge and years of experience, we handle everything from delicate pruning to complex tree removals safely and efficiently. Our consulting services at A Life of Tree provide expert guidance tailored to your landscape, whether it's diagnosing tree health issues, planning for growth, or assessing risk. Our certified arborists offer honest professional advice to help you make informed decisions. And that was the thing, as I told Kelly the other day, that when Scott and I had that meeting with Kelly and Amy and Tim, right away, I was feeling uneasy and my intuition kicked in big time. And I said, oh, this doesn't feel so good, because Amy took it and went with it. And I could see that and feel that. And I just wanted to slow down and then as the months went on and I asked the Tree with Life if Amy had ever contacted them, and she never did. And so that option went away, which is just how it is. And I feel bad that I also want to mention too, I'm just going from taking notes from what you said is what we all thought. And I've been watching the board meetings too. And you guys were consistently, what I could see, saying, it's going to be for safety, and we're going to take care of the dead and dying trees. And we were looking forward to it, and it was going to be good. And we were all for that. But I'll tell you what, when my mind changed, it was right in the middle of the harvest. It was August 7th. It was a Friday. And I was in my garden. And they had been logging for a while. On that north part of your property. And it was pretty thinned out. But again, I heard chainsaws over in that area. And so I walked over, staying on my property, and I walked over. And I watched them in an area where it'd been thinned out, there were no other trees around. And taking out two huge, beautiful Doug firs. And then I went, oh my God, this is for money, isn't it? It's not for safety. These trees were big and magnificent and tall and had branches. And then I looked around to the ones I left, and they're tall with no branches and they're spindly. And I said, oh my gosh. So that's when I emailed Kelly to let her know that something's up here. Of course, nothing happened, you know, she was lovely to email me back. But I also want to apologize to everybody, because I feel like I also pushed the urgency, because I was on it. I was on Amy, and and then when Amy left, I was on you of, when is this gonna happen? Because I felt like we got in contact with everybody in December, and here it is June, and really nothing's happening yet, and so I guess I wanted that tree, the leaning tree, to be taken care of. And so I emailed with the urgency, and anyway, we all do what we can do, and we do our best. And I really do feel that from everybody all the time. So, but I think Lynn is right on with, we had unrealistic expectations that we were led down a stewardship. But it was a commercial timber harvest is what happened, and our whole west side abuts that, and our trees are there, and they did leave trees to help with the wind. But I think I probably will get a hold of Ryan for his advice to see what he thinks about what's there now and how safe it is, because there's people that are not here that have said to me, they think it's more unsafe than it used to be, which is a sad thing. So, again, I didn't have one of the other things I wanted to make sure is that there will not be spraying, no spraying. And Kelly did indicate, but I would like a board acknowledgement that there won't be any spraying, because I can't even imagine with our waterway there. That doesn't make any sense to me to spray. And I did see a board meeting that you guys seem like you're like, yeah, we don't need to spray, so just to make sure.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Yeah.
Thank you. Would someone else like to speak?
I'll speak.
Yes.
So I'm gonna sit down. Is that okay, everybody? Stay here. Lynn, thank you for what you said. That was lovely. It's not your fault. None of us would have, yes, that this little paper, it sounded so nice, would have ended as it did. If it, it just seems like everything happened so fast. And I don't know why. And everybody was so for logging. I've watched the board meetings. And it was like, I think Joan had mentioned, what about an arborist in the beginning? And nobody really listened, and that was just kind of brushed on. And then it just jumped to, we're keeping the forest safe. We're not gonna take down too many trees. It's just the same thing as what you guys have said. And it was devastating for the last 2 weeks listening to all those beautiful trees go down. And so, you could call us tree huggers, but I think this is beyond that. Because if you actually walk through there now, it is devastating. I mean, those trees were not diseased, they were not unsafe. And it's just super confusing to me how it got to this point. I have a real concern about the irrigation ditch. A lot of us locals went up there and, I spent over an hour trying to dig out all the branches and the stuff that was put in that ditch. And that was part of the deal, I guess, that the forest people were supposed to clean it out, but they didn't. And I mean, it could have backed up towards your house big time the day I cleaned it. There was also supposed to be, it's called the NP stream. Is that correct? I think
But
Eric had said that. It's not, it's like, really?
What did I say?
an MP, stream.
NP stands for non-fissionary.
It's one of DNR's labels.
Yeah, no, it's not an NP stream.
So are you sure? Cause from what I researched on the computer today.
We're not gonna argue about it.
Definitely an NP stream, and also. Anita did mention on the board meetings that there should be a 75-foot buffer from any machinery and from water to protect the waterway. So I'm so confused on like what happened to that whole thing, and is there anything gonna be done? Some trees were near the waterway. There was supposed to be like a 30-foot buffer, so the sunlight does not go into the ditch. Now we don't have it shaded. There's like a big concern with that, so I'm not sure.
I can maybe shed some light on
Okay,
it.
that would be great.
Okay. The DNR's test for whether it's a stream or a ditch just has two components. One, was it man-made? Now, it could be man-made and turn into an NP.
Mhm.
But the second test, if it has been maintained and used as an irrigation ditch, then it's a ditch. And on their classification, it's a class X. And it doesn't have any requirements for setbacks or sunlight or anything else. So it's definitely an irrigation ditch. And I went through all this and I had to write the grant for UCD.
Okay, thank you, Lynn. And then I was kind of also wondering, I don't know if anyone can answer these questions, it's just us that talk, right? I guess you guys can't answer any of my questions probably. It's just noted.
Yeah, the system is designed for you to watch us work
Okay,
and
got
to
it.
let us know how you feel, let us know. But we can't have back and forth, or
Okay,
we'd
that's
have a
understood.
wonderful conversation for the rest of the evening and not have anything done.
Okay, thank you.
So thank you. We are definitely hearing you
Okay,
and
wonderful.
appreciate you.
Excellent, thank you. I was also wondering if it was surveyed by a professional before it was actually all laid out which trees were gonna be cut, because Stephen Rowe and nobody knew about it, so I'm thinking that maybe it wasn't surveyed. So I think Kelly went, you guys were great, you went down there and you moved the line, but that's kind of confusing to me too. Stephen Rose, I feel horrible for them because they have no protection from their trees now. And I look out towards that whole tree line and the trees are swaying so much in just a little bit of wind. I also feel like there's hardly any big, nice trees left in that forest. There's little trees that the big trees knocked the tops off of. If you actually walk in there on that. Okay, but when you walk inside, I mean, it is just, it's not a forest anymore. So. I don't know what else to say, but I appreciate all you guys volunteering. I just really do love some answers on what happened.
Thank you.
And yes, can we take a break? The owl is doing something weird.
Pardon?
The owl is disconnected or something. It's not.
We need to
Uh-oh.
take a brief.
Yeah, can we take a
pause.
break?
Like brief.
Okay, so we're gonna take a 5-minute break and fix our owl here. He's not working, so that means people online aren't seeing us and hearing us, and because we won't be able to hear them.
Yeah, it looked like it just, like maybe the USB just disconnected for a second.
I think we're good again whenever.
Pardon?
So I think we're good again whenever. I
Oh,
don't-
really? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what. it-
One person left. We can give them a couple of minutes to return. So nobody online has raised their hands or anything yet,
No.
have they?
No.
Okay, let's go ahead and get started again. Owl's back online. So does someone else have comments to make? We do have two comment periods, just in case somebody wants to comment later on too. Go ahead, sir.
I guess, what's done to the forest is already done. Just looking forward, I'd ask a question about what is the plan to put it back to where the kids can use it again? is there a plan for the trails to be rebuilt, the signs rebuilt? There was all kinds of different types of vegetation out there. Is someone gonna go back and replant all that? I heard it was gonna be the science teacher and a couple students. But like my wife said, if you actually walk out into the forest, you'll see it's a lot bigger project than just a teacher and a couple kids going out and doing anything. I mean, right now, it's just a pile of dust. All the vegetation's been tore up from the ground. So is like, can some of the money that's being raised from the logging operation be put away for money to be put into rebuilding the forest and maintaining it for the next 10 years or something, you know? Is there any sort of plan as to where we go from here? We could talk about what happened already, and it's not gonna make any difference. How about what's next?
Thank you. That's a very good point. You can talk to Kelly. She's got some answers afterwards
Okay.
or later on, get a hold of her. Liz,
Hi, I have two questions. One is kind of looking back, I'm curious about what the cost analysis was for, true stewardship, and safety protocols with an arborist or whatever, if there was a comparison done, to compare that with the commercial logging, and I'd love to see what the cost to the district was for both, or the benefit to the district was for both, and when was that done? Doesn't seem like it was openly done in the board meetings. So I'd love to know, like, when was this all decided to go with this logging operation, versus our little interpretive forest stewardship project? And then I would like to know, shoot, I think I lost the other piece of that. What is the plan move, kind of what you were asking, but also just looking, I live surrounded, I'm surrounded by clear cuts right now. And yes, all the trees on the edges fall down, every single one of them. So it's a line of trees on the edges, it looks like a fence around the existing forest. So it's devastating, and we'll see that happen here too. But also, whenever there's sun that hits the forest floor and it's just dust, now we're gonna have to deal with Scotch broom, pea vine, and all the other invasives that are gonna move in, that birds carry in. And what is the plan moving forward to keep that from becoming uncontrollable? Because we did not have a problem with that in that forest at all. And that was pretty exceptional, given that we have Scotch broom all over the place around here. So I'm curious what the long-term plan, because we have acreage and we're constantly fighting it. So anywhere the sun hits, you get it. So,
thank you, Liz. Anyone else?
I've got a quick something there. Obviously you guys have your hands full with this situation, and, I've assuredly less than ideal with the volume of work that you're engaged with beyond something that, has turned into, probably more than you anticipated. I am just going to make the recommendation, and I imagine there's something in the works to this effect. Clearly, we're in a position where we are seeking transparency. We clearly would like answers. I think it's in a first step and a show of faith. I would love to see some sense of, visible accountability and a formal apology to not just the community. The thing I'm most concerned with, like Lynn said, I don't think there was any ill intent here. I'm sure, all of your hearts were in the right places, but despite that, I'm worried about the perception of the children, and this example of, a space that they clearly have a relationship with, but beyond that, just a major misstep in terms of stewardship. And I would love to see something formal for the sake of the kids, knowing that everything that just took place there is just not acceptable and, you know, wholly avoidable. So I'm, you know, fighting back all the emotions that I think most of us are, but I'm, you know, ultimately, I think what has rose as a really high bullet point for me as a priority is the kids visibly have the opportunity to see this as an example of what not to do. So.
Okay, someone else?
Can I say something again?
Sure.
I talked with Kelly and Kelly indicated that it's very rare. In fact, it's unique, this situation, because schools don't have property. And that was what in my notes I was gonna say is that, not to make you guys feel bad, what a great opportunity, because we're in this beautiful state of Washington, and there's only one other district that they found that had land that they worked with. And what a cool thing could have been to have had your ideas of a stewardship and the kids got involved and those big trees were still there. And there was a really cool, right now, not in 20 years, not 25 years, but right now, carved out, safe, fire-wise, and the big trees are still there, and they would see, because they have examples of clear cut all the time around here. They know about clear cut. If you live here, you know, you can see it's coming off all the time. But a unique experience of having that land to have been a beautiful forest that the kids created. What a unique experience that would have been. I just had to say that.
Thanks, Rebecca.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was here when we did all the work through that forest, and it breaks my heart to see that. When we put the trails in and they put the signs up, labeling the different species of plants in there and everything. I was here when that happened. Makes me sick.
Thank you, Jennifer. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
I have a little experience with the forest there. For 12 years, I was a commercial logger. For 8 years, I was a logging specialist for the U.S. Forest Service. And for 30 years, I worked here at this school. I live not adjacent, but the next lot over. How are you gonna fix it? You better figure out how you're gonna fix it, because there's a lot of people that are really disappointed. Me being one. And it was a contract thing, you know. I just walked through it on the way over here. They logged across the ditch. It's full of limbs, bark, junk. Yeah, it's just a ditch, but Rebecca's not gonna have water here another day or two because it's backing up. It needs to be fixed. And it's nowhere near stewardship. That was a commercial logging operation. I know commercial logging operation. And there's a big difference when you tell the public, yeah, we're gonna take care of the forest, and no, we're gonna decimate it. What's left out there, half of it doesn't have tops. They'll be dead. They don't have the protection of the larger trees, so there's a lot of them gonna blow over. So you better come up with a plan how to fix it. And that is probably get an arborist or somebody in here and take out the ones that come down. And figure out, you're apparently gonna make money. They're hauling those poles to Roseburg, I hear. And at $5.50 a gallon for diesel, they must be worth something. Take your share of the money, get it replanted. And right now, it's a disgrace. For what it was. I watched kids go through there for 30 years. They liked it. It was a break from the playground, the bus, the classroom. It was an enjoyable walk there. You can't walk through there.
Thank you very much, sir.
I will say that Rory's been going over there often, and he has talked to the logger Alex, and I mean, they do have the plans of cleaning up and things like that, so I will say that. So they do know things that need to be done. Now, how much they're gonna be able to do before they're done. But
Okay, we do have a second.
I'd like to say something. I hear everybody going in there and stuff and saying the tops are out and stuff. I don't think it's safe to be walking in there right now if the tops and branches are broke and stuff. I don't
we
think
have
it
to
should be
clear
in
the
there.
ditch or we can't have water.
Right, I mean, we have to
Well,
water our gardens, and
Let
that's how
alone
we're doing
fire,
it.
huh?
let alone fire season. We're in halfway through fire season, and that water is a major buffer for this community.
Well, I get that, but I don't think it's safe for you to be going out there
And I
right
think
now.
someone needs to be paid to and get in there real quick.
Okay.
Thank
Yeah,
you, Bill.
we can't not.
Okay, so are there other comments? We do have a second public comment period. I think we just have the, pardon?
Barbie's ready.
I have a comment, but I'm gonna wait until the next.
Okay, thanks, Barbie. Okay, so you're welcome to stay for a second comment period. You're welcome to talk to anyone, other than during a meeting. And you're welcome to put your comments in writing. And you're welcome to call the school, make an appointment to get with Kelly. And indeed, there will be follow-up activity going on. People activity. I didn't mean tree activity. I meant people activity. So, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on. Are you ready, Kelly? We're going to start with the reports, and I think that Marissa.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, my goodness. Very impressive, Marissa.
Yeah. Are you going to tell them at all about anything you've done this summer personally?
I wasn't planning.
Could I convince you to maybe share a little bit about what you shared with me during the pre-meeting?
I can,
Thank you.
Okay.
Marissa's gonna be very sad because I keep putting her on the spot, but that's probably not gonna change.
Okay, so now that it's August, it's a really good time to start thinking about what the students would like to see for this school year and what like values we'd like to focus on. And I've gathered 3 values that I think would, be the best to like continue making decisions for the school year with these in mind. The first one is community. And because we are such a small school, having a strong community is very important. And having a community where every student feels like they have a place at our school and that no one feels left out or not included. I know that last year it felt like there was a disconnect between the under and upperclassmen. And I think with the return of the Owl's Nest and the return of the community building days at the beginning of the school year, that it's going to help really strengthen the community and bring the different grade levels together again. So I think we're gonna see a really positive impact with that. Moving on to choice. And giving students a choice and more control over their education and like other like fun events that we have at school. Now with the new schedule that Mystical has worked really hard on and with the teachers, the students have more choice again, especially over electives, which is something students have been really wanting. And also like events that we're going to have throughout the school year. One thing I know that ASB is going to focus on is asking the students what they want, like what events they want to see, whether
maybe they don't want a prom, maybe they want like a second lock-in instead. If prom's not something that students are interested in, that's something that we can tailor more to our school. And third and finally is balance. You know, PCIA has a very rigorous course load. And it can get stressful at times. So it's important to have activities that kind of lighten the mood and bring us some more fun and enjoyment to school. And one of the main things that we have are the monthly literary events with Miss Brooks. I know it's something that the students really love and enjoy, and it's a highlight of the month. And we're also, ASB is going to continue with monthly activities where once a month, the school comes together and we do an activity like miniature ball, capture the cone, or ultimate frisbee. And it just provides some time for the school to be together and the students to hang out when it's not strictly academic time. And we also have yearly traditions like lock-in, and it helps just to provide balance to the academic course load. With ASB, you know, we're going to continue doing those academic activities, and we're also going to have class representative elections soon, like in the beginning of the school year. Those are the majority of the ASB updates right now. I will have more like when the school year starts.
That's pretty cool.
Upcoming events, August 21st is the new student orientation, and I'm really happy that I'll be attending because I'll get to introduce students and like bring them to PCIA, and I'm gonna be really happy to meet them and just tell them how wonderful PCIA is. And you know, August 20th is the first day of school, and I know personally I'm really looking forward to that. And then, as I mentioned before, we'll have the community building days on the first 2 days of school, which are going to be very beneficial.
Marissa has graciously volunteered to help out with PCIA new student orientation. She is going to be the tour guide who will show them around. She is going to do a question and answer with students who are newly joining PCIA, and she's going to hang out with them for the entire time that they're here. And she's going to help me select the swag to give them so that they get stuff that they would enjoy. And really make sure that they get off to a good start. So I'm very grateful for that. I'm hoping that she isn't too humble and she'll actually go ahead and tell them about what she did this summer. If we've ever wanted to have a good spokesperson for why PCIA is an incredible program, we certainly have one here. Marissa, would you share what you did this summer and kind of how you got there and where it's going to take you?
So this summer, I recently spent a week at Gonzaga University for an engineering summer program for teen girls. And it was a really cool experience because I got to meet a lot of other teens who enjoy the same activities as me and are interested in the same thing. And PCIA really helped me to like get ready for it because I got like exposed to the more rigorous coursework, like, you know, physics and chemistry and more advanced math that, you know, you really need in engineering. And I also, so at the end of the week, I had to like give a little presentation, at a research symposium. And PCIA, you know, really prepared me for public speaking at that symposium. And so I was really grateful for that.
That's wonderful. Yeah, thank you, Ms. Brooks. Thank you.
Engineering.
Public speaking.
Yes. Marissa hasn't even taken the college public speaking class yet, but it'll be good.
Well, one thing I want to say that I really appreciate this, and I'm hoping you will feel comfortable no matter what subject the board's talking about to give us a viewpoint or ask questions. So not just something related to students or PCIA, but anything that the board's working on. I really look forward to having your perspective.
Thank you.
I know it's not public comment, but can I just piggyback one announcement for the first day? Real quick, is that okay to do? So in addition to the kind of fun orientation stuff we're gonna be doing on that Thursday, the yearbooks are in. And all those seniors who have graduated have been invited back. Any of them who can make it will come back for the yearbook signing during a portion of that day. So that I think hopefully will also, and they're ambassadors for the school, so they're gonna also help you usher in the new classes, so.
So you're gonna have a great start. I'm really happy to hear that. And don't forget, PCIA is celebrating 10 years in 27. Okay, next.
Next is me, but can we take 5?
Oh, yeah, we can have a break. So how about 5 minutes? We'll come back 7:20. It is, and we're gonna probably have another go. I'm done. Okay, let's start again at 7:21. Thank you, everyone, for staying. We'll move on to the superintendent's budget report. 1 month left in the year, right?
Yes. So our fiscal year is almost complete.
Are we gonna get up to 100% of revenues? You think?
I don't think we're gonna hit 100% of either. So we've done a really good job of looking to see where we're at. And so anytime revenues have come in, we worked on adjusting that so that both revenues and expenses come in close. The budget was budgeted for flat. So if those numbers are in alignment at the end of the fiscal year, then that would be relatively flat and impact to ending fund balance.
Do we, having any, anticipated, expenses that will? Okay, right now, we're about as close as you could get, 88% revenue and 88% expenses.
Yeah, there wasn't anything wild, that'll be hitting, for August. So, cause these are always a month behind, this is July, so you'll see August next month, and there wasn't anything that was too out of alignment to throw us off. So we look like we're gonna end the year in good shape.
Questions? Comments on the budget and how it's doing?
I don't think so, unless Kelly has anything else down, yeah.
I think
Not for me.
it's pretty boring, as it has been the last couple months.
I'm good.
All right, thank you.
All right, I'm trying to get on Zoom for my report. And yeah, we're having all kinds of camera things with later. Just so,
Did I what?
or am I ready to?
You should be.
Share right off the bat.
You should.
There we go.
Okay.
So we are about to kick off another school year, which is really exciting. So we're looking at being ready for a strong start with a focus on, people first, and then, our processes and preparation. And so there are some pictures from the end of last year, some, folks that were very excited to head off to summer vacation, and hopefully everyone looks just as happy to be coming back this year. So quick, snapshot, of what I've got for you tonight, start of the year readiness, staffing and structure, and then facilities and communication. So last month, just to circle back, I had provided some information about our state testing results. But what I didn't put in the slide was, information to give you like a comparable. So in the state testing for math, which is from, it starts in third grade, goes all the way through eighth grade, and then, it's taken at the high school level as well. Level 3 is considered proficient and a 4 is exceeds. So we had 30 students take that test and 47% obtained a level 3 or 4. So for comparison, which was the piece of data I was missing last month, Washington State average is 41.7. So we are above the state average in our mathematics. For English language arts on the state test, which is the same thing, starts in third grade, goes through eighth grade, and then again, once in high school. We had 52% of our students achieve a level 3 or 4, and the comparison for Washington State is 52.6, so relatively at state average. So we're I just want to make sure to circle back to that because that was one of the questions that we had about.
Is Washington pushing for everyone to do better, or are they happy with that? Is that progress from the previous, probably progress from the previous years would be my guess. Who knows?
I didn't, you know what, I didn't pull historical data. I would say though that I don't think that those numbers would be what we would be striving for. I think our numbers, it's really hard with a school this small because our percentage is definitely impacted in a way that you don't see on the state average. So to think of it in terms of being so few in numbers and still being at the state average tells me that we're doing well. And like anything, we can always continue to look at ways to improve. There's a nationwide and statewide initiative around mathematics. As you can see, the state average is almost 10% below what it is in English language arts, and that's been a really big focus, both nationally and in the state, is really how do we support kids in mathematics as well.
Forgive me if you covered this last time, Kelly, but maybe quickly, anything in this testing that surprised you or was kind of different than other internal assessments that we've done, or did it kind of jive with, what you've seen elsewhere?
It for the most part aligned with what we would expect. This test is to grade level standards.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you have students who are working through, like they're on a plan to close a gap or something like that, and they're making significant growth and progress, that may not show up here because this is to their true grade level standards. So if a student is, they don't read at the pace that the powers that be have decided is the appropriate pace, and they start a little bit behind, but they're catching up, they're making more than a year's worth of growth at a time, that's a success. But we won't see that here. We'll see that more in the iReady diagnostic testing, how much students are growing versus just straight up in
It's more
comparison
Yeah, okay.
to the standards.
So 3 or 4, what's the scale to go to?
4 is exceeding, 4 is the highest. So we want students to meet or exceed, and that's a 3 or a 4.
See, on the English one, it says 4 or 5.
Level 4, we had 5 students achieve exceeds. Level 3, we had 10 students meet. So I'd say, having 5 students exceed on both of those in a population our small is something to be proud of. So we've been talking a little bit about changes in staff. We looked at the needs with Ms. Lomax moving on to be closer to family. We looked at how we could possibly restructure. I like I said, I don't know that we need two administrators, and so we can kind of shrink some of that level. And so tonight, the board will have contracts presented for Lisa O'Neill to move into more of a district operations coordinator role to support with a lot of the compliance paperwork and more of the paperwork, as opposed to being a student or staff facing position. I didn't put Abby's last name on there. Abby, who's graduated from PCIA a couple years ago and then joined us as a paraeducator. We're excited to have her join us as the office administrator, taking on that front desk role, working directly with students and staff. I think she'll be absolutely wonderful in that role. And then you'll also have in front of you today supplemental contracts for our certificated staff. So later in the meeting, the requested action will be to approve the contracts for both Lisa and Abby, and then the supplemental contracts. Now I'll pause here to see if anyone has questions on this topic before I move on.
Where's supplemental contract?
Yeah, great. That's a great question. The supplemental contracts are for the 7 days that are in addition to the 180 days that a teacher is working with students. There are 7 additional days, and we just write that on a different contract, and it covers the professional development days. It covers 2 days before the start of the school year for classroom prep, a day in between semesters for grading, and then a day at the end of the year to close out their classrooms.
Thank you. I know you've answered that question before.
That's okay. Keep asking.
Yeah, keep asking questions.
Over the summer, last year we sent out a draft of, it was titled an employee manual. In taking a look at it, it wasn't really the tone, that I would like to start the year with. So I've spent a significant amount of time this summer switching it to, an employee handbook, so that it takes on more of the tone about just clarity and consistency. The intent is to have a document that answers some of the commonly asked questions, and to create some a place where we can all go for answers that are commonly asked, or things that maybe we haven't solidified as far as an actual plan of how we're going to do it. Again, it goes along with the intent and the work of creating stronger, sustainable systems through clear expectations and just increased communication. And so that is something that will be presented to the staff at the start of the year. And of course, it's a living and breathing document, so I'm sure there will be lots of feedback and revisions as we move forward. We've got some operations facilities projects going on. You probably noticed that the parking lot has some things in it. So we are on track for the roof repair to have a substantial completion day of Friday.
Wow.
Yeah, that's very fast. So they had quite a crew up there today. We're really focusing a lot of efforts. Tim and Greta and Lisa and Abby have done a lot of work in the month of August trying to get the building ready as well. So we've been doing a lot of work to the building and the site to ensure operational readiness. The Owl's Nest, Jessica's done a ton of work getting that ready. So it's been all hands on deck kind of this summer, preparing the building and the site with all of the work that's going on. So just a little bit of a recap on the little interpretive forest. Some of the communication to date has been on the website, flyers and FAQs, responding directly to questions or concerns, meeting with community members, conducting on-site walks with the forestry manager. And I will continue to do all those things, answer questions regarding the next steps. And they are expected to complete the harvest by Wednesday. And then the cleanup will start. There's still a lot of work to be done, and we will continue to provide updates and respond to community's questions, as a project moves from this phase into the next. And I took some good notes today to be able to follow up on some of that stuff. As I mentioned before, we have an audit coming up. It's a program review audit. Ours will start the week of November 30th. And it's completed through a program online. The areas are rural education, so they're gonna look at budgets and documents that fall into the rural education funding, and make sure that the expenditures align with the program requirements. Some fiscal topics will be looked at, such as grant management practices, to confirm federal funds are appropriately approved, tracked, and used for allowable expenses. So that is things like our Title I dollars and our LAP funding would fall into that. So they'll be looking to see how we track to make sure that if we're getting money for Title I for supporting students with reading, that we're allocating those dollars towards staff that are supporting students for reading. Same things with the Learning Assistance Program, LAP, which we use to support students in math. So they'll be looking to see what we're doing with those dollars and where they're going. This is a standard audit that districts get selected for, so it's random and it's our turn. An enrollment update. So probably shouldn't say placeholders there, but so we've got in K2, we've got 12. We have a full 3-5 class and 13 in middle school. We have 7 kindergartners this year. Just take a minute and think about that. 7 tiny little humans who will be joining us for the first time all together. Our PCIA enrollment is at 13. So our district total is 53. So I know the PCIA enrollment is down. If we think about how large our last 2 graduating classes are, I think that was a pretty significant impact. We have 3 incoming freshmen and then an incoming sophomore and an incoming junior. So we're inviting 5 new PCIA students into the school. We graduated 6, and the year before that we graduated 7, and the year before that we graduated 11. So we've graduated out a lot of students in the last couple of years. And then as it started the year, I just wanted to kind of touch base and give the board an overview of some of the communication and community engagement activities and plans. I know that communication is always an area where I think you can continue to improve and reflect. And so some of the things that are being planned are continued updates to the district and school websites and continuing to post information there. Continuing a monthly newsletter that goes out to family and community members. A weekly staff newsletter. Continuing to use email updates and direct messages. Hopefully increased use of the district app. We added a feature in the middle of last year called Rooms, where classroom teachers can push out messages and pictures and things like that directly to their families. We'll continue our social media work, continue to present at board meetings, continue to use notices and flyers, and we're gonna continue with the monthly coffee chats and tea talks, but under a little bit slightly different format, where we'll be asking for specific topics of interest, and then having kind of like a topic of the meeting, but it won't necessarily limit the meeting to just that topic. So be able to answer other questions. And then access and feedback coming in, surveys and feedback forms, public comment at board meetings, community forums and listening sessions. Continue to use our partnership with the PTO Booster Club. We've got our ASB conferences, staff meetings, individual appointments with myself. I have added a link directly to my calendar for students, for staff and for families to be able to just book an appointment directly with me if they want to meet. And so that will continue to go out in all of the different ways we communicate. And then, just some other, there's always the option to have direct communication, conferences and check-ins, and then individual, coming in with questions and concerns. So if you have additional ways that you think, would strengthen our communication and community engagement, I would love to hear about those. We'll continue to seek feedback on how people receive their information best. This is just a note, to get in, on the record. There was a clerical error on the 26-27 budget resolution that was dated July 20th. The resolution was numbered 2026-27-1, but because it was adopted before September 1st, it has been corrected to resolution number 2025-2026-3. The records have been corrected. It does not impact any of the resolution language or any of the budget. It literally was just those numbers at the top. There's no board action that is necessary. All the appropriate documentation has been taken care of at this point, but I wanted to make sure that that made it. Into
So the minutes are correct, right?
This is us correcting all of the things that we need to correct. We're just changing the resolution number. That's the only change. And so the signed document with the incorrect resolution number at the top will be kept with the new copy of it with the correct resolution number. So it aligns.
They're
with the-
referenced in the minutes, so the minutes are correct now.
This is to correct it.
So there'll be corrections in today's minutes that
Yes.
say Kelly notified the board of the
Yes.
correction to the.
Yeah, and so
To
if
the
someone-
resolution, but also to the minutes, but
Yeah, so if someone were to pull the resolution from July 20th, they would see that one, they would see the updated one. And then they would have access, they would be directed to the minutes from today in order to see why the changes are there. Marissa mentioned a couple of these things. First day back for the team is August 19th. Students join us on August 25th. It's a half day, followed by another early release on Wednesday, the 26th. And back to school night is for Mill A school is the 24th from 6 until 7. Come early because the PTO will be serving ice cream treats. And I just want to thank you for your continued partnership as we build stronger systems.
I don't need that.
And work to
The
support
minutes still
staff
say
and prepare
one.
for students.
Still say one.
Yeah, these minutes
Yeah.
will change that.
Okay.
Yes. And I just, the focus will continue to be creating a district where kindness shapes our culture and safety guides our decisions and responsibility strengthens our systems. So that everyone can thrive. And we know we don't always get it right all the time, but we should always be trying to do better each time. And that concludes my report. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you.
What do you see as the biggest concerns going into the start of school? Like if you thought of your 2, 3, 4 top things.
I think that we've had a lot of changes both over the summer and over the last couple of years. So I think the priority number one is to just come together as a team and determine what teamwork and the dynamic looks like so that we can do our best to all rise together. I think it will be important that I spend a lot of my time listening. And that we really try to figure out what it looks like in the 26-27 school year and how we can best support each other and students after. And we've had several staffing changes.
For sure.
We've had some other changes. Our student body looks at PCIA looks quite different than it did 2 years ago.
Indeed.
So I think really just getting our feet underneath us and how we can support each other this year. So we've got, in the last 2 years, we brought on 2 new elementary teachers.
Yeah,
Our office is shifting, we're bringing on a new PCIA instructor. So that's a lot of change for a team this size. We also have a new cook. So we have a lot of new faces, and so really it's gonna be all about people.
yeah, okay.
So what opportunity will the board have to meet our new PCIA instructor?
Well, I will ask him tomorrow when he comes in.
I think that's kind of important.
I do. He will be, he doesn't know it yet, but we'll be interviewing him for the next Keeping Up with Kelly video for August, so there'll be a little snippet of him. I'm sure he doesn't strike me as someone who's camera shy. But you'll probably get a little glimpse of his personality from that. And then I will work with him about making sure that you guys get a chance to get to know him and meet him as well.
So just to clarify here, Eric, the minutes we approved have the wrong resolution
Right.
number, so
Yeah.
I'm wishing we would have changed it at the time, so we just want to make sure that the minutes we approved have the wrong number in it, then they will be changed.
These minutes this month will communicate.
The
that
minutes of
change.
next month will change
Yeah.
the minutes of
Yes.
this month, right?
Yes. Yes.
Wait and see.
The correction will show up in the minutes for this meeting, because this is when we made the correction. If someone was to go back and look for the resolution in the previous meeting minutes, that's still in the book. There will be 2 copies together. So
I think I see what you're saying. In other words, I think what Anita is staring at us right here is the wrong number on these minutes. Which
Right.
were actually, I think your point is, no, it should reflect that, that's what we did.
yeah,
But now our action, or really our notification tonight is that, hey, we identified that as a problem, so we're kind of changing it now.
Correct.
So you
correct.
need both. It would
Yeah.
be nice if we just like left a sticky note on it.
Yeah, so if you were to look up, if you saw only those minutes and asked for that resolution, it's filed
Yeah,
with a copy of the updated resolution number.
Yeah.
If you saw only tonight's meeting minutes and you saw the new resolution number, they're together.
Yeah.
So you would get the same document from either one, just with a clerical correction.
And there's a footnote on the.
There's a
Well, that's what I was showing you, is they put this footnote on this, so there's like 2 copies together that
Yeah.
this is unsigned with.
No,
the
and,
footnote.
my thing was, because we approved the minutes, if the minutes are going to be changed, we need to reapprove them, but they aren't going to be changed.
They're not right.
Yeah, the next set of minutes will have the correction,
Right.
Yes.
yeah, so. And I had written this in blue and then forgot to bring it up, but anyway.
Okay.
All right, let's see here. How are we doing on board presentation? Or superintendent report? Are we ready for?
I've got one
contract?
more thing that didn't make it
Okay.
onto my slideshow. I have in front of me out of, a plan, Mr. Hawkins put in for an additional, code for his teaching cert, and there's a paperwork back and forth that is happening. And in the past, what we have done is we've just done an out of endorsement, form for him. And so I'm bringing to the board, that, we're gonna need to do one more while we get that paperwork, sorted out with OSPI. And then once that all goes through, we won't need to do the out of endorsement with him anymore, but that does require board approval. It's been the last several years we've been doing it. We're just trying to get away from doing these exceptions, so,
and that covers this academic year then.
yeah.
And then presumably next year it'll.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah, so we'll have it all sorted out by then. It just, we weren't able to get it sorted out quickly enough for the start of school. So this is the appropriate way to handle it while we finish that paperwork.
Great.
Okay,
And that's really the end.
Okay, contracts.
We have supplemental contracts. I do wanna make one, point one thing out. Our new teacher, Mr. Lashana, his is for 8 days instead of 7. Really felt that it was important to get him onboarded correctly. And so I've got a supplemental contract for 8 days for him and then 7 days for all of the other certificated staff for the CBA. The 8th day will allow us time to get him all of his paperwork done and go through some of the onboarding process that would either pull him out of professional development or take some of his prep time, and neither one of those are appropriate. And so in order to handle that, we need to bring him in for one additional day.
Okay.
Okay, so these will come up for approval during. You want those approved now, Kelly, or do you want to bring them up for document signing?
Whichever the board prefers.
Let's just do them now. So the first one is for our new PCI math instructor. For 8 additional days, at the contract amount of $2,960. Would anyone like to take a look at that? These are all
the same.
All the same. They are for the standard 7 additional days for instructors. Would you guys like to take a look at that?
History, not math.
Oh, history, not math. My big scared me for a second.
No, there's nothing you don't know.
Wait, I was like, wait a minute.
No, we don't wanna lose Mr. Harb, that he is just fantastic, and I'm sure our history instructor is gonna be wonderful too, so I'm anxious to see the video. Give us a little bit about his personality and,
I'm hoping
Things
that
like
he'll
that.
play the ukulele, but we'll see.
oh, that'd be cool too.
John, what's the contract amount for the 8 days?
That's the one that I'm looking at here.
What's the amount?
The total contract amount is 2,960 for 8 days
Oh, okay.
total.
I
Yeah.
Probably less.
You need that?
I think the
only
daily
changes are
rate
the-
is
the-
underneath there in lighter,
Of these over the last several years, have just
Yeah.
been 8.
yeah. Lashana?
So just minor point of order, I need to just recuse from Rachel's.
Right, we'll pull Rachel's
We'll do
out.
that separate. Otherwise, I assume we can do this very good.
Are we signing them now? Is that?
We don't
just
need to
looking?
sign them. We just need to.
You guys are-
We just need to approve.
I see.
Oh, okay.
We just need an approval date.
Yeah, okay. Okay,
All right, so Chair would entertain a motion to approve contracts or supplemental contracts for Mr. Lashana, for Kelly Bachland, for Jennifer Talbot, for
No.
Ryan Van Duzer, for Jeff Hawkins, Dr. Harb, Liz Brooks, Bridget, Jessica Hoff, and Mrs. McClarney. Are there,
I would move to
Is there a
approve
motion?
those supplemental contracts.
okay, is there a second? Thank you, Bill. Are there any questions or comments? Again, they're all 7 days, which is the norm here for us to get everybody rolling, except for our new history teacher
Yep.
is 8 days. Okay, in that case, it has been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Alright.
Anyone opposed? Okay, John's gonna recuse himself. And we have a contract for our health and PE instructor. Rachel Dufus for 7 days at the same contract price as all instructors pay. Are there any questions or comments? Okay, so the chair would entertain a motion to approve this contract.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, thank you, Bill. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Eric. All in favor or any further discussion or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you, everyone. It's nice to have school coming back. I just can't believe it's happening so fast, though.
I know.
Back to school night for Mill School is the 24th, just next Monday. So it's Mill School, not PCIA, but back to school night, a big night. Okay, Kelly, is that it?
Oh, it is, the Jeff thing was on there separate, so I can go ahead. Nope, two more. So I also have, Abby's contract for, the, office administrator, Lisa's old position. And Lisa's contract for the confidential executive assistant district operations coordinator. Long title. So I do have them and, I do have them both written for the time period of August 1st, 2026 through July 31st, 2027. Both of them have been supporting all summer and transitioning into those roles. So,
And their current contract, if it includes any day in August, that has been canceled and they're going to be under this new one.
that is the intent, because they've really both been transitioning and taking on a lot. In order to be ready for the start of school, we decided that it was best for them to come in and do some of the transition.
So the board probably should acknowledge that their current contract will be terminated. Oh, it has been.
Superseded,
After
yeah.
August 1st.
So, did we, on Lisa's contract, have some prior discussion then already? Or I guess where I'm going is anything on the terms, because that one would be kind of a new thing for us, right?
It was presented last
Okay,
month.
so
and
the board
for
reviewed that.
feedback, yeah.
Okay.
So it's, you know, in a really rough layman's, it's divided between the two young ladies, between papered people.
Okay, yeah, yes.
I can't get a picture of mine who Addie is.
Abby,
She's got dark hair. She's awesome. She's
Is that enough?
really friendly. She graduated 2 years ago.
She just graduated from PCIA a few years ago.
Yeah,
2 years.
2 years ago.
Can't picture who, which.
Well, you
Go into the
get
office.
to know her really well, because she will be sitting at the front desk answering phones. And if you haven't had a chance to walk by and see some of the changes, just as far as making it more open and inviting and creating more space. We're also taking, what was Miss Lomax's office and turning it into a health room, and a place for students who, need to step out of class and get re-regulated. They'll be able to do that in privacy as opposed to in the hallway. Really trying to make sure that space is being utilized for students in a way that we weren't able to before when we had a person in there.
Okay.
I don't know why I'm reading it backwards, eight backwards.
So they can see less parts of the end, I know.
Usually.
Stuff in bold,
Kelly, as I look ahead on our agenda, what type of phone do you have?
I don't need, like, personally,
Just curious.
an iPhone something, I don't know, whatever I got last time.
Has that on here, are we gonna get her a phone?
Well, first, are we needing motions to approve both those contracts?
Yeah.
So I would move, I don't know if we need them as separate, but I would move to approve the contracts for Lisa O'Neill and Abby Sawan.
I'll
Is there a
second it.
All right, great. Thank you very much. Any further questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Right?
Okay,
Anyone opposed? All right, thank you.
and then did we also need an approval for Jeff's open or what? I don't know. what the terminology
It's
there is.
listed separate on here. I was thinking that I was gonna put it in my report, but it is, yeah. So just an official approval of
You know,
that
I
would be
thought of
great.
that and I just assumed we didn't because she didn't mention it, so. I guess we have to accept that because that is a teaching instruction. qualification.
Just an approval of providing him with an out of endorsement
Okay.
plan.
So I would move that we approve the out of endorsement for Mr. Hawkins for this upcoming 26-27 school year.
Seconded.
Been moved and seconded to approve the endorsement for Mr. Hawkins. Does anybody have any questions or comments or anybody want to see it?
What is out of endorsement?
I will defer to Kelly on that one.
So when you get your teaching license, it is specific areas and things that you can,
Oh, I
that
see,
you can
okay.
teach. And with Jeff, he's got very specific codes because of the type of teacher he is. And robotics falls outside of one of the codes that is on his existing license, although he has all of the skill and qualification to do it, there's just a piece of paper that needed to be submitted. And the form got filled out incorrectly, so we weren't able to get it back in time, and this is how we've been doing it. This is meant to be a bridge, not a long-term plan. So we, over the summer, sent in the paperwork to OSPI, but we didn't have it back in time. And in order to start the school year with the proper paperwork in place, then we'll
Thank
just
you.
need to do this.
All right, thank you. Any other questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, thank you. Thank you, John, for bringing that up.
On to so I am coming today with an ask. I think that to, be more available, I think it would be helpful if, I had access to a work cell phone. It would give me more, ability to text, and other things without opening my personal cell phone up to a public, records request. The phone itself would not cost anything. It would be a two-year commitment on the existing plan that we have and approximately $40 per month. But that would allow me to have a phone that I can actually use to communicate for work-related things instead of my personal cell phone.
Good, why is there no charge for the phone?
Because you have to, you're locked into your contract for another 2 years.
Oh,
So if the district decided to not
It's
have
built
any
into
cell
your,
phone,
it's built
Yeah.
into your monthly fee, basically.
yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't already have one.
So let me just throw something to think about at you.
Absolutely.
Your iPhone can do dual SIM with an eSIM, and you can turn on and off each line. So like, oh, my work phone's turned off, and you have like separate text boxes, separate everything put in place. I know.
You know, they have to help me switch from my personal Facebook to the school
To the school
Facebook, right?
Facebook.
So,
I get it.
um,
So sometimes it's trade-offs, right? Sometimes it's a pain to remember to bring a second one along, and it's like, oh, I don't want to work with me.
yeah, I
Wow.
feel like my tech skills kind of put me in a specific box of having a very clearly different phone. I will be more in line with the other folks in my house who carry two phones all the time, and we make sure we each have both of them. That's how it would go. I honestly, I worry about any type of intermingling and.
Sure. Yeah.
I think if I had better skills, that might be an option. But
It became more evident in the recent month
No, I think,
need for the community to communicate with her, which was occurring on weekends and things like that. So it would.
well, it should be on a school note.
yeah, and
So I definitely support that.
I don't ever want someone to feel like I am not wanting to communicate with them, but taking a call on my personal cell phone on a Sunday is not an appropriate way to conduct business.
No.
And so had I realized it was a work call, I wouldn't have even answered it.
You probably wouldn't have taken your work phone out on.
Probably not on the
paddleboard
paddleboard, or yeah, probably would not have had it with. Sorry, Rob. So I want to be very available within reason. And so I think that would be the best way to do it.
were you
Sure.
trying to get in touch with her, Lisa?
No. I empathize,
Oh,
having had a small business for 10 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I felt bad when I was like, nope, talk to you on Monday.
But people still have her personal phone. If there's an emergency at the school on 2 o'clock in the morning on Sunday morning, people can get a.
Absolutely, the staff, the team will totally still have access to my, like, right, because that's important. But as far as non-employees or even the board, if we're conducting business, that really needs to be on through district communication.
Unless we're talking about football or you running stop signs.
I'm a very safe driver who always follows all of the traffic laws.
Seconded.
Kidding.
Do we need a motion to approve?
I don't know if we do. I'm certainly supporting from
I
my.
don't think we need a motion, but just a general.
Plan already exists, so.
Yeah.
It makes good
Yeah.
sense.
Great, we will get on that then. And I think I am done talking for the evening then.
Well, wait a minute, what does it say? Review of policies under review, 0, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yay.
Get ready, because Abby's been making a list of all the ones we need to catch up on.
Yeah.
The board has now asked me to defer those plenty, and so you will see some in September.
And to see the board going to policy making.
Yeah, bring a cup of coffee for the next few months.
Coffee and sugar. Okay, we're public comment. Thank you very much for being standouts and being here with us. Go ahead, you wanted, Barbie had something?
I did. I was advised Friday afternoon that I should send a letter to the board. But my weekend was kind of taken up, and the letter is really important, don't get me wrong. But I had to harvest stuff out of the garden and can go to Yakima and get peaches and spend my last free Saturday with one of my grandsons. So, well, 2 hours. So anyway, I am planning on writing a letter, but there was things I couldn't put off. So anyway, it's the safety of the bus drop off and pickup. I've talked to Kelly a few times about it. I'm still not comfortable with it. It's not safe. I did tell her I would try it for 2 months. So October 30th, after my PM route, it's early release. We will have a meeting to go over the pros and cons. I don't think she's gonna change her mind. I'm not changing my mind as I see right now, and probably as she sees right now. But I've been parking when I drop off and pick up in front of the school. You guys have all seen where I do that at. This spring, I've actually stayed back a little bit north, so the crossing guard could come out the front door, see the crosswalk, and walk out when parents are dropping off on the 3 designated stops or spots across from where my bus parks. And the crossing guard would put down the flag when cars would come in, when the students were getting out of their cars so nobody else could come through. So there's nobody that the kids are getting out in front of traffic. It's safe. I think it's safer than all the 20 years, well, 19 and so many months.
That's close.
But 20 years, I'm gonna say 20 years because it'll be September. All the training that I went through and driving bus, I know the safety of what we're supposed to do and not supposed to do. The safety committee at school, which I'm a part of, but couldn't come to the meetings because I don't have a substitute driver. So I had to do my route. But last summer, when I came towards the end of summer, I came to school and I was heading across the parking lot, and Tim said, "Oh, by the way, Barbie, you're gonna be parked down closer to the dumpsters, farther south at the end of the sidewalk." And I said, "That don't make sense. It's not safe. Who made the decision?" And he said, "The safety committee." And not one person has ever driven a bus in this committee. They haven't went through the trainings. They don't know what the safety recommendations are.
And, so anyway, I said, it's not, so early this spring, I'm horrible at dates. I think it was like April, I was able to come to a meeting because they changed the meeting from 2 to 3 and I got back at 2:30, so I was able to put in my 2 cents, which it didn't matter because everybody else had already made up their mind. So anyway, when I have to take my bus farther south, that means, it's more dangerous for the students. I'm gonna have kids behind my bus going in. I cannot see the back of my bus. I can see the back sides, through my mirrors. But I can't see if, say, a child drops a toy and goes under my bus. And I think all the kids are up at the school and I pull out and I run over a kid. I couldn't live with that. The school district would get sued. I would probably get sued personally from that parent for, running over their child with the school bus. And, it just goes against all my training. And,
How could you avoid that?
to stay back where I'm at. It doesn't make sense to move. I did move my bus farther back, like I say earlier, north. So the kids, when the kids pull in, the crossing guard comes out and crosses the kids. They put the sign down when the kids pull in, so the parents can let them out. They can come across. It's safe. I can see the kids going into the building. I can see if they come back out to the bus. I can't see that when I'm parked down there and the front door is up. So, I'm not very good at speaking, so I'm really apologizing for that. Anyway, like I say, the safety committee decided on this without even asking me any questions. I was here a year ago, spring, when we walked the parking lot and looked at all the dangers, and that was never brought up. The thing that I was worried about then was backing out of the bus barn, so we were talking about the direction of traffic moving, which we got it changed, which is really nice that I don't have to worry about trying to see cars coming from both directions when I'm backing out and I can't see who's there. Let's see.
You still have to look, cause some people.
Cars,
Phone.
yeah, and I have, but at least it's not so much as it was. So the traffic direction has been really a nice change for coming out of the bus garage. Bus garage is in a bad location. So, but that's not gonna change and we just gotta work with it. Anyway, so I don't feel that it's safe to move my bus of 30-some children up to the end of the sidewalk when there's 3 or 4 children that get dropped off in them parking spots to be parked by the school to go in. There's a crossing guard. The crossing guard is not gonna be able to keep an eye on my bus because she's gonna be facing the other direction, crossing the kids and making sure they're safe. So anyway, I did agree to 2 months, which would be October 30th, about this. And again, I just don't feel safe about it. The students they mean the world to me, and their safety is my biggest concern. So anyway, thank you for listening. I get emotional, sorry. I will get a letter sent to you, but I did want it documented, before school started. Just in case anything happens, you guys know. My recommendations is leave the bus back. If you look on the sidewalk, as you first get on the sidewalk, the north end of the sidewalk, there's 2 blue paw prints. The second blue paw print is where I parked my bus, in the front of the bus. so the kids can walk up and go into the schools. So anyway, thank you for listening. And I just don't think it's safe, and it's gonna be more of a traffic issue also.
Thank you, Barbie.
Thank you, Barbie.
Why?
Anyone else have? Pardon?
I wanna address this, because I think it's important. If she thinks it's not safe, we don't wanna do it.
So we can discuss that in a meeting. We don't wanna get back and forth, but we got another session here and we can discuss it under this if you'd like.
I do have a couple questions.
Okay.
If you wanna add. So I drove bus for many years.
Okay,
Not in a one bus scenario, but 4, 8, we had to pull in and pull out. Kids came up to us from behind. We had to keep an eye on our mirrors and keep an eye on the kids. Are there scenarios? So there's safe ways to deal with kids coming up to your bus from behind, right? I mean, you drove at other locations where you had kids doing that.
yes, I did drive at other locations. One of the incident that happened this spring, I was parked out here and there was staff out here in the afternoon when I was picking up the kids to take them home. A child dropped their toy and it rolled under the front of my bus. Nobody's seen that, and out of the corner of the eye, I seen the child going to get under my bus. If that was behind me, I would have never seen the child, and it wouldn't have turned out as good as it did this time.
Wow.
So, it's so scary.
So Joan, if we're allowing questions, go ahead and ask a question and then the board can discuss it. So if you have questions.
Thank you. That's all.
Okay,
Can we move her back to the spot where she feels more comfortable?
No, ask
Why
Barbie
did she-
questions and we'll discuss as a board when we get through.
yeah, it shouldn't be discussed in front of me, but I appreciate it, but I shouldn't be here when you guys are discussing it.
So yeah, you can hear what we discuss. It's just that, the board, which I've always been in favor of the board answering questions when you have questions and things, but it just gets, we have some pretty long meetings when we get back and forth. But the board can discuss this and you can hear everything in our discussion. Yeah, that's not a problem.
All right. And can I address Eric with your comments? So I did work for Stevenson Carson School District for 14 years. When I would drop off at Stevenson Elementary, the parents had to be out in the parking lot. Because we dropped off at the front and we were by the curb, and the teachers would release their kids from the classroom. The kids would come out, get on our buses, but they wouldn't go behind our buses. And we were away from the crosswalk for children crossing. And then later years, we were having parents park in our parking spot. So we moved to the back of the parking lot. And there we had to park at an angle. So the kids were safe. So none of the kids went between buses or, behind us, so we could watch. With the trainings, the high school, of course, Stevenson High School has where parents drop off in the front, by the office there. But also we have parents that drop off in the back and they always pull up in front of our bus. They don't drop off behind our buses. Carson Elementary, in the morning, we drop off at the cafeteria for the kids eating breakfast. And then we go around back and drop off at the back door for kids that are just going to the classrooms. And then I was talking to one of my ex-coworkers, and she said, remember when we parked in the back, to pick up the students, we all parked at an angle too, so nobody could get around us and kids couldn't go behind our buses. They came down, got on the door or, in the bus. So anyway, it's just a real safety to be able to watch the students. And if somebody gets off my bus, come in the school. I can watch them in my mirror. I cannot get off the bus. I have to stay on the
Right.
bus if I have
Yeah.
children. But anyway, that's kind of what we've done. And the trainings, in fact, we have another training on Monday, an all-day session. But we go over all that, what's the safest spot
Sure.
to be able to see kids, because, you know, looking in your mirrors, you see down the sides, but you can't see in the back or under the bus, so. And I know the community would be devastated if something happened, I know I would.
Sure, of
Um,
course.
And safety for my kids on the bus, has always been number one to me. So.
Thank you very much, Barbie. Please finish your letter and get it to Kelly. Thank you.
I will.
All right, thank you. Any other public comments?
One thing I want to address, the little forest, so when Rory has gone and talked to Alex, the logger, they have stirred up some underground yellow jackets nests. And they're bad. So I don't know how long it will take for that to calm down. But that could be an issue for student safety.
I don't think the kids should be in there for a while, you know, you clean up, make sure no branches are falling.
Okay, any other public comments? Liz?
I have one, just, someone else in the community texted me and that I thought this was a good idea to share that, they said if there isn't one already, a stewardship plan co-developed by students and, an associated stewardship learning plan. For example, invasive species or renewable hands-on opportunity, would be a sensible contribution. So this would need a staff person interested in leading and a commitment from the board and school community to follow through. So, you know, it's bigger than this, but I think there is opportunity for students to rehabilitate a little bit, or at least help with mitigating.
Yeah.
I know Matthew did,
Mhm.
with Science Club, did a bunch of,
Pulled out a lot of Scotch brooms.
Scotch broom, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's that opportunity to kind of pass along.
Thanks for doing that.
Yeah.
Okay, any other public comments? All right, let's move on to old business. So, the Little Forest is old business, and I know that, we have seen some information that indicate that, Kelly will be leading some community effort of what the next steps are. Do you want to fill us in on anything, or do you want us just to express viewpoints to you, or is there anything we should talk about? Because I heard several good things from the public.
Yeah, I don't have anything prepared for this evening. I would be happy to take more notes if that's what you would like, but I don't have anything prepared to present at this time. I think that we're almost through this initial phase, and that will help determine exactly what the next phases look like, but they do include student and staff input. They do include using it as an educational experience. There's a lot of opportunity for students to both learn and have educational experiences specifically around the life cycle of a forest and timber harvest and things like that. And also the space that is created potentially for additional like picnic tables and being able to have classes out there. There's quite a bit of opportunity that we can develop, but I believe that that's all going to take a lot more input than we've had. And I do think that we need to see what we're working with to be able to develop some of those next plans, but they all involve students and community and staff.
So is Ryan going to do a final walkthrough to make sure the logger has met all the commitments? So there was criteria in Ryan's contract and there was criteria attached to the logging contract. Is that correct? On how the logger was to conduct it according, okay. So we haven't seen that criteria, but he'll be doing a walkthrough to make sure all that is met, which includes cleaning up the water. and all of that.
Yeah.
And then I think that everything you said is wonderful. I think that we need to involve the community in the next steps. And maybe get a volunteer who is very knowledgeable about
Scotch broom.
management plans and forest stewardships. and
Is that
things
a
like
volunteer hand that we just saw?
I am very close friends with the Gorge Scenic Areas botanist, on-hand botanist for invasive species.
Yeah, I think we wanna control our invasives.
Yeah.
But he's a botanist. I know he would love to come in.
Awesome.
And I think like the student involvement is,
It's key.
it's key, and I don't think we wanna be. Yeah, one of the things we heard is like, you're quick, and I think this is an area too that we don't need to be. We need to be proactive, we don't need to be quick. I think the opportunity for students to propose things and maybe propose multiple areas with multiple things and document. Recovery from intervention.
In addition, I think you're absolutely right. Student involvement is key, but we also have expertise in our community that we were negligent in not seeking earlier. We have a lot of people who have expertise that could help us enormously.
Sure.
Including some of ourselves. I mean, I wrote my own stewardship forest plan for our, I mean, that we have a lot of expertise right here that live right here. And we didn't know that at the time this project started, or the person that started it didn't know that, so.
I also, I think the one thing I did hear as we look forward, and I would be curious, is the comment about the topped trees. Like, how many of our trees did get topped by felling other trees? And what is our plan, or what do we want to do about those?
Well, one of the things that Brian Van Duzer asked was that snags be retained for.
You do need to retain
And
some.
they are retaining snags.
That's great.
More than the required minimum.
Yeah. For
Woodpeckers and what else?
yeah,
did he
just
say?
Wildlife, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So there was a
There are
bird
different
he
minimums for
specifically-
different types of forests, so I think that's where the confusion is like, now,
Right.
it's not a commercial forest.
No, it's not.
So,
It's a multi-use school
Yeah.
property and
It's a public park
the-
of sorts, right? Like-
to some level, but we don't want it to look like a park. We don't want to maintain it like a park. At the
Right,
same
which
level.
is
Oh, we're having a good time. Go ahead, Barbie.
Yeah.
When you talk about students getting involved, I mean, there's not a lot of students here. But there's also a thought, there's different Boy Scout groups
Oh.
that need community
Activity,
service,
yeah.
especially for their Eagle Scout.
Yeah, I think what I was speaking more on is after an intervention, after a thinning, there's a tremendous amount of change that happens in that first 5 years. And we have students who are starting their high school career here. We have students in 7th and 8th grade, and what they see today and what they see in 5 years, like, that's a tremendous opportunity for them to
Right.
if we go out there and like document it annually
Right.
and some of those types of things and talk about the trade-offs between like certain levels of intervention. Do you replant ground cover? Do you let natural seeding to take place? Like, all of those types of questions have proponents.
I also think that it would be very good for our forester to give a report to the board on the project's completion.
Yeah.
The state of the forest, what he sees and what he recommends, because we have put all of our faith into this gentleman. His contract was well written, his evaluation of the forest I felt was very good, and but I want to see a report. I want to see the results and him to let us know that those things have been met, those things have been done, and what he recommends now. I don't know if that's gonna cost us extra money or what, but I think that's very important that the board have that information.
This town's called Mill A. How many mills were originally here? Just 2?
I just learned that there was apparently 2, and that one of them is not quite identified the location.
Was that Mill B?
Larry Layton. No, Mill B was another one.
And then there was a
which
Mill-
the Chenoweth.
And then there was
There were 2 Mill A's apparently.
There
Oh.
were, one of them was right over right across from Greg Cook's house
On the
on the
flat.
river, right,
Yep.
but the other
So-
one was back over this way.
That's what Larry was
Yeah.
saying. I don't know. He was a little unsure, like they've never proven that or they ain't known for sure, but there's something back up on
And
Little
that's
Rock
because all
Creek.
the railroads were torn out and everything, but there were two here in Millay.
So they had all them mills here. Imagine how much logging they did.
Oh, yeah.
It grew back. You know, it reproduces.
I totally agree that those trees laying there are the most majestic trees ever. But our intent was not to make money by any means. The forest practices permit had no choice but to write it the way they did. I was really a little bit surprised about it, the way it was written, but they did what they did their job. DNR forester did in writing the forest practices permit. Now, the trees that our forester recommended taking out are indeed valuable trees. And the school district is taking the right steps because we are responsible for ensuring the money that comes from those trees go into our capital fund. We cannot by law use that money to buy pencil, paper, food, or pay teachers. It has to go into our capital fund. Because trees are a capital asset.
Well, I have to say, I really appreciated what Lynn had to say.
Oh, it was very well written.
And I think that one of the things that really, to me, was important, is something we talked about last week, is that when we live in a community, we have to assume the least damaging plausible intentions around activities. We can talk about whether the choice was too premature, it was irreversible. All of those are fair things to talk about. And there's also, man, I liked a lot of what you had to say. One thing though is the whole class 3 permit with the DNR. That determines not the motivation of a project, that determines under what regulation it's evaluated. And you can look at
It
like,
determines criteria and how we do the job.
yeah. But if you look at like, there's several examples of the state parks doing health thinning projects. The Squally has one, 7 Mile Forest is another one. Those are all like state parks addressing a health issue in the forest done on a class 3 permit. Not for the state park to make money, but to address the health of the project. So it doesn't automatically it doesn't determine the motivation for the work you're doing. Now, did the outcome meet the motivation? That's a very, very fair question. And it's something we're accountable for and we need to talk about.
That's right.
But it doesn't, just because it was done on a class 3 permit, doesn't mean the motivation was commercial or something along those lines.
Well, the forest practices forester that evaluates doesn't really have a lot of choice.
Right.
On the class of permit he issues.
Right.
And the keys there is, which was fortunate, is that, because I was very concerned that was gonna be NP water. And he kept it as an irrigation ditch, which was very good for the community.
But we still want to protect it. We absolutely want to
Well,
protect
and our
it.
contract is written, he has to clean all that up, and we should have made sure it's being done on a daily basis
Yeah.
or something.
And
Because
that's fair.
this is irrigation water
That's totally
season.
fair.
So when they're cleaning this, when they're done logging, they're gonna clean everything up. They're gonna clean all them ditches out, right?
Well, they're supposed to, that's the way. the
Yeah,
contract's written, yeah.
but the people, I mean, I don't think anybody currently has it, but or uses it in this way. But a lot of us on that stream have irrigation rights for both your own personal,
Yeah.
irrigation of your
Water.
garden, but also for drinking water.
Yeah.
Like I have, and yours probably does too. It has so many gallons per minute for irrigation, so many gallons per minute for domestic water use. And when you have something like that, you also have an obligation to like minimal disruption.
Yeah, I was really surprised they did not have a setback required, but that's because they classified it as an irrigation
Right.
ditch instead of an in-fee stream. I was very surprised at that. Water's watered, it should have had a setback, but that's just my personal viewpoint. I was really surprised. The other thing is, I do think that we should later on, we don't need to do it now, but talk about how to deal with the slash. I think that that could be some issues down the road.
Yeah,
How they deal with what?
Deal with the slash.
Oh.
whether we retain some of it or
dip
dip it or
burn
whatever,
it,
yeah.
So in a lot of forestry operations right now, they're recommending you just scatter it on the ground, but of course that isn't really consistent with what we want. We want to have some nice wide trails and.
But
things,
it may not be that we wanna, we may want it on the ground in some parts.
We could do that,
And-
definitely that.
Lynn recommended chipping it,
Yeah, yeah,
and
And-
that is a,
Chipping's,
yeah.
chipping's an option. We would have to pay to have a major sized chipper come in because
Underwood
we
Conservation has.
got
one,
really
but I bet
big stuff and it's all messed up. It's not like, I mean, if you had Underwood here, you gotta have all the butts in the same direction and.
I bet
things
there's
like
like,
that.
I bet there could be a special situation with Underwoods. My husband just finished a thinning job of Elk Grove in Hood River and, they just hired a commercial, they just rented a commercial.
Yeah, the fire
chipper for
district
it.
just did a big chipping done and they just
Yeah.
hired a guy to come in
Yeah.
to do it. And he
you can
had it
rent
done
them
boom
for
like that.
$500.
The third option is that that slash could be taken to a power generating plant, which I think is in Hermiston, isn't it?
But the nutrients, I mean, we have to
Yeah.
keep the nutrients in the,
Yeah,
the
but
ground
we
has
do have
been
three options,
decimated.
so
All of the mycorrhizae are
Yeah.
decimated. It's gonna take a long time for them to, like, you can talk to
Botanist.
of my friend Brant's, the botanist, yeah.
there's that fly. Leave my hands, I got him. Okay,
Peaches and cream.
is there anything else, comments on the Little Forest? It could be on our agenda as next week to get a report on how the project went.
Next
Next
month.
month.
And
September.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
not coming
yeah.
back.
next week.
I
Next
can't, I can't.
Nobody's gonna show up next week, even if I called the meeting, I bet.
After this last month, I woke me
Um,
with a few weeks before I see you
And
guys.
then we have back to school night
At least
on
at
the
this setting.
24th. Is there anything else
This setting.
for good of the order or new business? All right, let's go on to document citing. Jessica, I don't know what is wrong with me, but I neglected to put the voucher numbers in the approval of the consent agenda. Can you
I
add
already have
those
them.
to the minutes?
Yep, I
Okay.
have them.
So, let's pass these for signature, please. I didn't get him, he was just stunned.
What did you say?
He
Like
just flew
fly.
off.
Oh,
He's walking again.
Oh, well, Anita, we can't get him then if he's walking.
Already killed you.
All right, he's a goner now.
No, he's still on your hammer.
Now you just made him down.
He flew away somewhere.
Okay.
Let's see.
thank you.
How do you guys?
See you Wednesday.
Liz,
I'll see you
And then-
Wednesday.
I'm sorry, I called you Lisa.
Oh, you can call me whatever you want.
Thank you. Well, we've only got two.
You're done.
Oh, this is for all of them?
Oh.
We already
Put
did
this
two.
in September's meeting.
Well, contracts,
The
we don't have to
technology
sign
plan.
contracts.
Well, they'll probably get them if we
I'm
do.
sorry, you can't.
Okay.
Well. Do you have
Well, I thought we were
questions
gonna.
on it?
Well, last meeting you said that it would be on our action on it in August.
No.
Okay.
Okay, I'll go back and look.
Last month seems so long ago to me.
No.
It's only a week or two.
No, like our actual meetings, since we have so many meetings in between, it feels like 3 months ago.
Okay, no problem. Let's see, one more, and then we'll be able to move on. Oh, there was one other item that was supposed to be on our agenda tonight, that I obviously forgot when we were talking about agendas, and that is the vacation accrual thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so that needs to be on our agenda for next week too. That's
Next month, still.
Next month.
I'm not coming next week, you know.
I'm not either, actually.
You'll have to call me on myself, yeah.
Okay. So the board will be going into an executive session, probably for maybe only, what do you think, Kelly, 30 minutes or so?
I hope that much or less.
And this will be for the purpose of paragraph of this RCW that allows executive sessions 42.30.110. Paragraph I, subsection 1, we will be going in for paragraphs little I through 3 little i's, which is litigations. So we are adjourning to an executive session at 8.
Zoom.
Okay, the executive session ended at 9:13. We're open into a public session at 9:13. And we are by mutual consensus adjourning. Is that correct? Does everyone agree to that?
Yes.
Yeah.
We are adjourning at 9:14. How about that?
Cool.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Yeah.